Next I have Keaton Griffith, who has indicated they are a resident of the city of Durango.
I guess I have the same question. Why not public comment or agenda item?
This is under public comment on non-agenda items.
Okay, I had signed up under the agenda item earlier. Can I still do that later?
He signed up under both 11.1 and item 13.
Yeah, I signed up for the public comment later because I didn't think we'd be included.
Okay, then he should be included with the 11.1. These 11.1, and we'll just add 2 more minutes for him.
Thank you.
Yeah, both he and Mr. Lawrence are listed under 11.1 as well.
I think we should just add them.
Okay. Next would be Gina Janone. I also signed up for both. Okay. Chris McCarthy.
Also signed up for both.
Okay. Ed Brzezinski.
No.
Okay. And Diane Davis, who's also signed up under 11.1.
So how many do we have now for 11.1? Because we had 14.
Still be 14.
It's still 14, they're signed up.
Okay, great, okay, wonderful.
Rick Cobb, city resident.
I think Rick Cobb will come back on March 12th. I think Rick Cobb will come back on March 12th since this item has been tabled.
I have Sweetie Marbury.
I would venture to say the same thing.
Gina Janone, city resident.
For clarification, we get 2 or 3 minutes.
2 minutes, thank you for clarifying.
All right. Hi, my name is Gina Janone. I'm a Durango resident, member of the Durango Palestine Solidarity Coalition, and I'm commenting on the resolution that's now not an agenda item that's supposed to be 11.1. First, I would please like to ask the council to clarify next time exactly what this resolution means for our community. I've read the actual resolution many times and I felt that I understood it, but then I opened up the Durango Herald article from yesterday and it felt like I was reading an entirely different resolution. Can you please clarify whether this resolution will prohibit your council from considering resolutions on the stated issues, or is this an effort to silence public comment overall on these issues? In the Herald article that several of you contributed to, it said, quote, in layman's terms, the resolution would limit comments during public participation to city-related matters that City Attorney Mark. Put it that way, it does feel like an infringement on our First Amendment rights. I would like that addressed at the next meeting. I also have to address something that also disturbed me about the article. In it, it says this resolution would also, quote, also allow City Council to shut down hate speech without running afoul of people's First Amendment rights. And goes on to talk about the so-called Zoom bombers who called in on January 16th to spew hate speech. I take strong issue with our 2 groups being lumped together in discussion of this resolution. It's my understanding that City Council already has rules banning hate speech, and those Zoom bombers were not proposing a resolution, nor were they speaking during public comment on non-agenda items. They picked an agenda item, some even pretended to address it, before they all pivoted to racist, anti-Semitic, and homophobic conspiracy theories before being rightfully cut off. Given that, this resolution would have absolutely no impact on their efforts at all, and including them in discussion of this resolution is, to me, just a tactic to delegitimize our efforts here over the past few meetings. Frankly, it's insulting. Not only would this resolution not curtail their actions, but it would be handing them a victory. I won't say this group's name out loud, and you can look them up if you want. Their stated goal is to limit public participation at City Council meetings. So I urge you to think about that when you're thinking about this resolution. I strongly urge you to reconsider this resolution. I'm worried about what this means for our community. And by the way, we are nearing 700 signatures on our ceasefire resolution petition. Free Palestine, thank you.
Until we're all done, if you will, so we can get through this more effectively. Thank you, thanks.
Chris McCarthy, city resident.
A lot of people showing up for this, for the biggest thing. My name is Chris McCarthy. I'm a resident of Durango, Colorado, a member of the Durango's Palestine Solidarity Coalition. Well, I'm here to express my overwhelming sense of hopelessness, honestly. From the beginning, we never expected the City Council to hear our pleas. We are pessimists about the mechanisms of democracy and seeing it fail us again and again, doing little more than defame populist movements and manufacturing instead. But the optimistic want to be proven wrong. I want to believe that at a local level, our elected representatives would represent the values of their community. Instead, here we are. Rather than spending 20 minutes to take a moral stance against something like funding ethnic cleansing, the city is trying to find a way to take a neutral stance, to quietly sidestep the issues we brought forth and hope that somehow it goes away. I'm here to tell you, our tax dollars don't take a neutral stance on international leaders, so neither can you. A vote for this resolution is a vote for complicity in any past, current, future atrocities committed by this nation. We know it, and I'm sure you do too. Maybe this resolution, akin to tying your own hands, offers some reprieve for your conscience. Maybe. Maybe you can even forgive yourself, but history won't forgive. History won't forgive any of us. Since October, I've seen with my own eyes a new generation of leaders, organizers, and supporters stepping forward and engaged with the democratic process, trying to use these tools, mechanisms, and right passed down by our ancestors to change and correct the course of history. In good faith, we collected over 700 signatures to support this resolution, prepared a public statement, spoke directly to our representatives, and poured our hearts out on the public record. And now we feel the door slamming on our faces. By the end of this meeting, this resolution will be inadmissible. Whether you want it or not, it says loudly and clearly, we do not belong here. The pessimists have been proven right. I'll end this with Aaron Bushnell's very last words. As he burned himself alive, he said, be complicit with the genocide, free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you very much for meeting to that, I appreciate it. Thank you, next.
Christina Thornburn, city resident.
Thank you, City Council. My name is Christina Thorburn, and I represent resident of Durango. I'm here to comment on agenda 11.1, which is the table. I work in healthcare and use ultrasound to look at hearts, which means I spend a considerable time of my waking hours each week watching and hearing hearts beat. If ever you pause for just a few seconds, you like me feel your heartbeat, I ask you to tune into that. When I think of Palestine and how over 30,000 Palestinian lives have been lost since October 7th, the gross majority of which have been civilians, and most women and children, I think first of their hearts. Regardless of the method of their killing, by being bombed, caught in rubble, shot by snipers, or forced starvation, among only some of the horrific ways, I think quickly whatever moment it was, their hearts stopped beating. And to put it as simply as I can, that absolutely reaches mine. The fact that the taxes are being pulled out of my paycheck to go to state and federal levels that are directly contributing to the deaths of these innocent people makes me sick. It is a cruel and disgusting irony that the work I do to hopefully help hearts beat better here and longer here is directly contributing to the stilling of hearts in Palestine. Why do I say all this? Why am I talking about work? My work in me instead of spending more in my precious seconds that I can on people in Palestine, because over the last months, my friends here have done just that. They've given me statistics on lives lost, money spent, and used much more eloquent persuasion than me to appeal to not only your humanity, but to your reason. But you haven't listened. So I changed tactics to remind you of me as one of your constituents, who you are supposed to represent. You as the City Council are moving to adopt a resolution that keeps comments on track with the governance of the City of Durango. You claim you have no authority over international matters, but you may go so far to say Colorado state matters. But if you adopt this resolution to limit our speech, instead amplify our voices, adopt our resolution for a ceasefire. Amplify what I hope is in your own hearts and speak up for peace and speak up for human rights.
Catherine Lawrence, city resident.
Hi, my name is Zachary Lawrence, citizen of Durango, Colorado. And I as well would like to make a statement in regards to agenda item 11.1. I didn't really have anything prepared, but I do want to just put out some numbers real quick before I say what I'm going to say. In Durango alone, according to military mapping information, In Durango alone, $287,531 in Durango go to Israel. That in Durango could home 34 households for public housing in the course of a year. That also is over 100 children. We provide free or cheap health care for over 100 children a year. And it could also provide 818 homes with solar electricity for a year. It could also cancel multiple student loan debts. So that is just in Durango. In the United States overall, that regards, that's 451,735 households, over 1 million children with health care. In Colorado, over 9,000 homes, almost 30,000 children with health care. So, we have a legitimate argument to show this is a local issue. This is some of the stuff. There's more, and we're going to obviously have more to talk about as more evolves. But the message to me is relatively clear. Sit down and zip it. The little bit of Hebrew that I retained in my childhood from my father, sheket yellet, and that means shut up, child. And that's kind of how I feel right now. Our participation in democracy shouldn't be punished. I think having our voices heard is more important than ever. And it's this upcoming election cycle. I just would like to urge everyone to find, this resolution is definitely working towards stifling free speech and expression. That's my words.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to make a quick note, here's what we heard from our mayor pro tem that her son won his state tournament in Denver. This is good news, and this is the reason why we have postponed this discussion to our next meeting. Do we have the next speaker, please say?
Melinda Davis, city resident.
Good evening. My name is Dahlia Davis. I've been a resident since 2016 in Durango. First of all, I want to acknowledge that we are on stolen lands and honor the tribal people that lived here before us. The only reason we are able to live, work, and enjoy this area is due to colonization and the mass murdering of the indigenous people who thrived here for centuries prior to anyone's so-called discovery of these ancient lands. For this reason, as well as many others, it seems obvious that a town like Durango would care about what's happening in Palestine even more. Although we cannot change the past, we can help alter the history that is currently being made. If you ever wondered what you'd be doing during the civil rights movement, you're doing it right now. Taking a stance on something historical locally means standing up for what's right. It means being a courageous leader in a world full of followers. It means showing that we, Durango, have a heart. It is recognizing our connection to each other and our deeply rooted, interconnected humanity, and that we will not stand by in silence and complacency as we hide behind our privilege. Sometimes privilege means not caring about something just because we don't have to. I am proud to witness communities smaller than Durango, like Taos and Glenwood Springs, leading by example along with approximately 70 other cities in America. To say things that are happening around the world do not matter here is a deeply concerning statement to me. If we, the little people of the world, allow something like this to happen by turning a blind eye, we're saying that we accept it, we're okay with it, and it can happen anywhere, which means it can even happen here. Living in this bubble of Durango and the greater bubble of this nation, we have witnessed many wars over the last century. What's happening in Palestine is not a war. It is ethnic cleansing. It's an attack on 2 million civilians who are being held on a piece of land that is approximately 25 miles in length and 7 miles in width at its widest. It is among the most densely populated areas on the smallest piece of land in the world. Palestine is the largest open-air prison on the planet, and people cannot come and go as they please. There is nowhere to flee.
Thank you. That's 2 minutes.
2 minutes? I thought I had 3.
We limited it.
Oh, you limited it to 2. Free Palestine. This is a war on children.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Ed Ray Zicki, city resident. Sorry if I butchered that.
I'll speak. Hi, my name is Edward Zicki. I am a Durango resident. I've been a Durango and Plata County resident since '97. I'm speaking about resolution 11.1, or excuse me, resolution R 2024, the proposed resolution backing up to 2007, I was proud of our community when we passed the Iraq resolution, which called for the withdrawal of American troops from Iraq. On a personal level, when I saw Durango on the list of other communities that had done the same, I felt like my voice had been heard outside of our community. In 2009, as an elementary teacher, I attended the We the People Institute at James Madison University. Basically, it was a summer camp to learn how to simplify the Constitution for my students. At this institute, I learned first and foremost civil discourse is the most important fundamental of a healthy democracy. Participation in government starts at a grassroots level right here. If Durango residents don't have a forum for civil discourse, where will we have the chance to not only voice our opinion, but also to begin a life of participation in government? Limiting public comments during public forum would stifle our community's duty to facilitate civil discourse. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Keaton Griffith, city resident.
Hi, my name is Keaton Griffith. I am a resident of Durango, and I'm also here to speak to what was agenda item 11 before this table. Reading through the agenda packet that listed your reasons for wondering about this resolution, one that was included was that the city shall be considering matters that are relevant to the governance of Durango. I want to remind you again that including people who are here tonight, we have Palestinian community members here in Durango. This affects them. The rise of hate against their people and our Jewish community members as well is relevant to them, so that it's relevant to our governance here. Otherwise, as you just heard before me, Durango has done this before. In 2007, City Council passed a resolution calling for the withdrawal of U.S. troops from Iraq. Vets showed up to speak out on that in great numbers. This room was packed. And right now, only about 2% of the population of Israel, less than 2%, are American citizens, and yet somehow close to 10% of Israeli Defense Force soldiers killed in Gaza are American citizens. If you don't think that vets will want to speak out on this Sunday, I think you're wrong. And if they come here looking for a voice, are you prepared to silence them too with this resolution? We have been asking for you to pass the ceasefire resolution, and it's simply asking for you to say something. Simply asking for you to say something seems like a pretty low down bar, and then you have moved to silence us. That's all you've done. You'll have to look back someday when this is openly recognized as genocide and know that this council made a cowardly decision to silence us instead of saying anything. But you're probably not listening to any of this, you're only listening to understand political appeals. So think about this. Have you ever seen this many people engage in public comment? Have you ever seen this many people show up to engage with you? Do you think that these people won't vote you out?
Eleanor Porter, city resident.
Can we call her again, please?
Eleanor Porter, city resident.
Hello, my name is Eleanor Porter and I am a Durango resident. Thank you for listening to me today. I'm here in support of everyone here calling for a ceasefire. The U.S. provides military aid to Israel every year despite record levels of violence against Palestinians by Israel. The U.S. must immediately work to de-escalate to prevent further loss of life and not fuel war by sending more weapons, especially when Israel is using those for war crimes. Our tax dollars are funding this. We are losing U.S. service members in this. I stand before you today as a veteran of the U.S. Navy, who I just watched a fellow service member, Herod Bushnell, take his life for this cause in the U.S. Indies. The least I can do is stand before you today and repeat his words. I'm about to engage in extreme act of protest, but compared to what the people have been experiencing in Palestine at the hands of the colonizers, it is not extreme at all, end quote. Aaron was from San Antonio. What if he had been from Durango? The official count of lives lost in Palestine has passed 30,000. Women, men, and children are being killed and starved with our weapons and our tax dollars. This is an issue to me, as it should be an issue to everyone in this world. If we as good citizens continue holding on to fear and continue to refuse to address this issue, there will only be continued loss of life. I have personally voted to elect you to represent me, and now I would like you to use your voice. This issue is not in a vacuum. Please, use your elected power to send us up the chain of command. Alone, my voice will be drowned out, but together we as the people of the city of Durango can call for change and peace. I believe in your ability to see what's right.
is Karen Pontius. I live in Durango. I speak tonight to ask our city council to reconsider the draft resolution that will stifle speech by our citizens about issues larger than this small town. Over 700 of us now have signed a petition to ask city council for a resolution calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. Beth Miller of Jewish Voices for Peace says, polls show that 60% of American voters and 80% of Democratic voters are in favor of a ceasefire. And while a given city or town passing a resolution might not impact foreign relations, ceasefire resolutions are a form of protest that magnifies that outlook. They're one way to amplify the voices of the majority of American voters who support permanent ceasefire. These initiatives send a message to our members of Congress and the Biden administration around what their voters want. Miller concedes that despite the polls, there are plenty of opponents, but she believes that the resolutions have the potential to open a dialogue about the war. Our communities can't live in fear of debate and uncomfortable conversations, she says. The Herald piece yesterday said the city doesn't have a formal policy when it comes to limiting public comments. Let's see, just because we don't want bad actors, we can't limit the good actors, and all the speakers on this topic have been peaceful and orderly. We're asking for council to represent this small town by joining with other towns and cities in denouncing violence and supporting humanitarian efforts with the request for a ceasefire. As said before, it's a symbolic but powerful protest to try something to stop this war. Again, I ask council to advocate for the values of Snowdown, peace and love, and pass a symbolic resolution. Glenwood Spring just became number one, listed number two. Thank you.
Alice McNichol, city resident.
Hi everyone. I have a first name, and I'm nervous. This is a scary thing to do. And I want to say wonderful job to everyone who has shared their heart and shared their voice. I'm here as a child caretaker. I grew up in Durango. I've been caring for children for the last 10 years. And so for me, my motivation with this war is the impact on children. Many other community members have been following this war since October 7th and far before as well. It weighs on the hearts of so many other community members. And our international leaders have failed us again and again, and I truly believe that now is the opportunity for small but mighty local governments to take action. The idea that Durango is an insulated system from the rest of the world is not only dangerous, but it's also untrue. We are an interwoven, connected world, and what happens in another country is directly bound to us, and we're responsible for it. Our responses and outrage reflect the severity of what Palestine has been experiencing over the last 150 days. Some 30,000 human lives have been lost, a third of them being children. Just last week, human beings who have been starved were waiting for flour and were massacred. The tactics and methodology of this war are merely genocidal activity, and I strongly oppose this resolution as a person who's grown up in this community. What's going on is egregious, and the harm will ripple for generations. However, calling for a ceasefire now sends a clear and direct message to our larger government that what's happening is not okay and that Palestinian lives matter. And I also want to thank Oliver Bozeman for speaking out and honoring the time and energy that your constituents and city community members are putting into this. Because us showing up here, using our voices, and speaking on behalf of a global issue, is democracy. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael Padillo, city resident.
Hi, my name is Michael Fadil. I'm a Palestinian. I'm a resident of the city of Durango. I'd like to thank the city council members for allowing me to speak on 11-1 at this table. The objective of public comments here is to try and persuade each one of you to vote a particular way. Sadly, I'm here Anything I say here in my 3 minutes will not impact your decision and whether your minds are made up. Hopefully that will not be the case, but I fear it is. Sunday Herald wrote, you all stated that proposed policies need to prevent hate speech. Let's be very clear, that's a red herring. Mayor Joseph, you say every meeting before the public comments that, quote, we will immediately cut you off for any mention of hate speech. So let's please stop acting unethically by repeating this fallacy. Additionally, at the last city council meeting, in a discussion with some of you, one mentioned that 45 minutes was spent on the ceasefire public comments. However, all public comments in the last meeting lasted only 32 minutes. And 11, the total commenters, only 7 spoke about the ceasefire resolution, taking up 22 minutes, not 45. Again, please stop misrepresenting facts. Despite over 700 signatures and public comments over the last 3 meetings, the city council has refused to vote on it. And yet you blame us for fulfilling our civic duty. Do not blame the commenters for wasting your time. Bring the resolution to a vote. City council members, it's your duty to support Durango's mission statement. Part of the mission statement is to be, quote, ethical, unquote, and, quote, to improve the quality of lives of our entire community, unquote. Improve the quality of your entire community. Yet more than 500 members of your community, 700 members, your constituents have said that this is an important topic for the quality of their life, and yet you continue to ignore the Durango community. What's it going to take for you to hear us? Does Durango have to have our own Aaron Bushnell, light himself on fire, giving his own life? Because the quality of his life and mental state is so badly impacted by the situation. Is that really what it's going to take? As our elected officials to city council, I don't have to tell you, it's your responsibility to represent your constituents. That despite this ongoing efforts to show how important this is to your community, you choose to ignore the people who you're supposed to represent. If you haven't seen a high school play here in town, you really should. Even our high schoolers understand the obligation we have as elected officials. Free Palestine and the occupation.
Kaiser,
in.
not city residents.
Good citizen media. Welcome in.
Michael Kaiser. Okay, moving on.
That was the last one she signed up.
Okay, thank you.
I signed up and I wasn't called. Did you not get my name
This is Adam Howell.
on the digital docket?
This list was pulled when the mayor announced the item. Did you sign up after that?
I don't know. I don't know.
You did enter I'll entertain comment, Council Will. Yes, no, what item will you be speaking on, Mr. Howell?
Hi, my name is Adam Howell. I'm a city resident. I'm speaking on the resolution that was just tabled.
Okay, we'll limit that to 2 minutes, then, just for your information.
So just to give some context, I believe that the resolution that was tabled is one that would prohibit the city council from passing any legislation that would talk about matters of international political controversy. It would also prohibit any types of ideological topics. So I am here to speak out against this resolution mainly because I believe that it's unconstitutionally vague. I encourage everybody to read about the vagueness doctrine. So basically what I mean by that is that it's so broad in scope that its power would be arbitrary in the topics that it would prohibit the city council from passing legislation on. So, for instance, a topic that it could exclude would be purchases that the city of Durango makes from international sources, such as components for ski lifts at Chapman Hill, or sodium fluoride that the city of Durango purchases from Shanghai, China. I think these are topics that we should be able to pass legislation on if we want to. We shouldn't be excluding discussion or legislation about topics of these international concerns. And then when I read the public comment rules here, I'm drawn to some other topics, some other areas that I believe are unconstitutionally vague. It's saying that comments such as personal attacks, profanity, hate speech, derogatory remarks.
Mr. Howell, that's 2 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, with that, we will conclude our public comment on